Hey, are you made of gallium and yttrium? You're looking... That's not my joke. I'm not that smart. I actually failed chemistry because I was too excited about the fire in the labs. Speaking of fire, dragons. Fire transition right there.
My God.
So tonight, or today, or whenever you're watching this, for me it's night, because if I sleep, I lose. Anyways, tonight we're talking about the second season of Dragon's Race to the Edge. I finally took a break from playing Resident Evil 9 Requiem long enough to film this for you, so you're welcome. So this season introduces 2 new bad guys, 2 failed marriages, 2 kidnappings, or actually, like, they all get kidnapped at some point, military propaganda, several Hiccup crash outs, and even a Halloween special. So, spoilers, I'm just now realizing that I'm going to have to look at myself in the viewfinder this entire video, and the bags under my eyes are a little baggier than they usually are, so pay no mind to that, please. You know, some people actually use makeup to achieve this look. It's designer. It's edgy. It's alt. It's probably a disorder, and I should probably get it medicated. So on the topic of fire, episode 1 of season 2, we return to Burke, and it is microdosing being blown up. Astrid's home is the only one that's destroyed out of all of the Dragon Riders. So they have a sleepover with her and Stormfly at the Dragon Training Grounds. Used to be the Dragon Killing Grounds. How did that happen? Hiccup's dad then uses this tragedy to recruit this now homeless young adult into the military.
My back!
So Astrid stays on Burke to train her own defense team of Dragon Riders, and Hiccup decides to stay and watch Astrid because he knows she's in a weird emotional place right now, since her house was just exploded, and he sends everybody else back to the edge. But it turns out Dagger, remember him, the guy that looks like Josh? He intentionally blew up Burke to draw out the Dragon Riders so that he could follow them back to figure out where the edge is. I feel like he could have followed them at any point, maybe just an excuse to blow up Burke. So Astrid's training is basically impossible, and this is by design.
So what did he do?
He's Snotlout's dad.
Enough said.
And Hiccup calls her out for this because obviously she's feeling guilty that she let her parents get exploded while she was gone. Oh, they didn't actually get exploded. They were fine. They were out drinking or whatever when the attack happened. But regardless, she feels bad because she wasn't there, and she's going to be the eternal trainer, so she can never leave. So Hiccup points this out and is like, hey, I'm pointing this out, which is rich coming from him being like, hey, you put too much pressure on yourself. Glass houses and stones, or whatever they say. But she gives him the cold shoulder, literally, because she's got metal on her shoulder. You don't have to tell me how funny I am, I know. So he gives her some space, he decides to go return to the edge, and it turns out they're also microdosing being exploded. This is probably the one time that those massive shoulder pads have actually had a use, the way that he's holding that night terror on his shoulders. You aren't fooling anyone, buddy. We can see your arms. You're still built like a beanstalk. What was it that I was just saying about glass houses? So then Daddy and platonic girlfriend show up to help. Toothless casually murders 2 men. Actually, they murder most of the guys here. Dagger retreats.
Whose idea was this little mutiny?
I'm Radio Rebel!
No! I'm Radio Rebel.
I'm Radio Rebel! Radio Rebel!
Anyways, Astrid and Stormfly go swimming, and Hiccup's spider senses are tingling. He senses something's wrong.
No, I should head south. And why is that? Because Astrid likes to fly south, and she'll obviously be expecting me to rescue her. Like I said, I'll go south.
And it's a good thing Hiccup did go south, because that's where Astrid is. Maybe Snoutloud does know Astrid better than you. Toothless uses his Batman powers to find her, and Hiccup uses his Aquaman powers to swim superhumanly with a metal leg.
Dragon hunters.
Dragon hunters?
Yeah, that was like your parents' professions. And your like dream job for like 15 years of your life, so I wouldn't clutch my pearls quite so tightly, guys. Stormfly has been captured, and they all go to find the Dragon Hunters. Instead, they find an arrow tip And after licking Snotlout's foot juices off, Fishleg discovers that it is covered in dragon root, which is like a special dragon tranquilizer. So they play Sherlock again and they go back to the ship graveyard from episode 1 of season 1 to try to find clues. Reusing sets and props on Netflix? What do I even pay you for? So Astrid's a big old pessimist and she starts breaking shit. And that's a good thing, because she actually finds what they need. And I will use this the next time my therapist tries to tell me that I have anger issues. So they need Changewing acid in order to see the Dragon Eye lens.
It's like we're going to Changewing Island.
Which they achieve through Snotlout's suffering, per usual. And then the next plan they form after finding the map, they achieve through Hiccup's reckless antics.
For my plan to work, someone's gonna have to get shot.
Hiccup decides to sacrifice Fishlegs, who then, I want to speak with your managers, his way into an escape. But Astrid ruined it by also getting captured. Hiccup panics in the face of failure, grabs Hookfang, and dips.
Surprise! Did you miss me?
Family is family.
I can't believe this, Heather.
You're telling me that the emo edgy girl is emo and edgy? What? Now they just need to find a way to escape the boat.
We tunnel out.
Through the bottom of the boat.
Into the middle of the sea.
Exactly. They will never see it coming.
That plan won't work any more than your rough nut marries the guard, divorces him, and gets the key in the settlement plan.
His name is Riker.
I am Riker.
This is his ship.
This is my ship.
Each of the dragons are being tortured by capitalism.
I can't look because my hands are over my eyes.
While all this is happening, then Hookfang gets over his dragon root poisoning. Would it be poisoning or... Is it poison or venom? Poison's ingested. It'd be venom.
Poison arrow.
It's a tranquilizer. Is it tranquilizer venom? So Hiccup searches for the hunters, but no dice. And the gifted kid syndrome is hitting him hard.
They have those one shot and you drop poison arrows. What do we do then? Well, I have no idea. I gotta be honest. That's not the answer I was hoping for. It's up to Snotfang to come up with a plan to squeeze some brilliance out of this thick, beautiful skull. Ha!
And it works, just not in the way that Snotlout intended.
I've got it! Ah!
And Hiccup's plan is foolproof.
Oh, the screaming death! Why don't we just wave him over and have him kill us? Would you just relax? It's the worst plan ever. Well, I disagree. I stand corrected. There was that whole let Meatloaf get captured idea. That was genius. Really brilliant. A work of art.
And in the mines, they get the scales from when the screaming death malted. Malted? Malted? Malt? Like milkshakes? That's not right. Malt milkshakes? Malt milkshakes are nasty. Are they? When's the last time I had a malt milkshake? I used to make them all the time. But I worked in like 1950s diner. Have I ever had a malt milkshake? They seem nasty. You just put the powder in. What the fuck is that powder? It's like milkshake cornstarch. So Hiccup's plan is foolproof.
We're gonna die.
Everything works out because Hiccup is actually friends with his mom. Speaking of moms,
It's not like your workmanship. My mother taught me everything I know.
this is one of my favorite tropes. Of course, the big buff macho man would be into weaving. He probably knits in his spare time. And previously on Below Deck...
You mean like this key I stole from the guard?
Oh my. Where did he go? But they all get caught, and then they get put to work.
I'd prefer to go overboard.
Then Hiccup and Snotloud, with their dragons all dripped out in Whispering Death armor, finally find the hunters.
Your armor's loose. Oh, I knew I should have used a lock stitch, not a cross stitch. Stupid Snotloud, stupid. Oh, Mom's gonna be so disappointed in me.
I don't think I've ever seen Snotloud care about something more. Put Snotloud on Drag Race, please. He would do so well. See, actually, I want to see all these guys read each other. And because of that, they all escape.
I don't know. I'm a little surprised you didn't use a lock stitch. Oh, I'll use it right now on your mouth.
Until Tough Nut gets bitten by a lichen wing. So Tough has a mystery bite. And Snotlout, the bullying older cousin that he is, convinces him that it is a lichen wing bite.
His name was Kessler. That's a weird name. The little bugger never returned. When little Kessler's birthday rolled around, a red, black-eyed dragon would fly over his parents' house.
The Burke equivalent of a werewolf. A were-dragon. So Tough, believing that he will be transformed into a dragon the next full moon, gives away all of his possessions, and then condemns himself to the stables. Meanwhile, Roughnut uses Snotlout, the cause of the drama, to collect bite samples, which is actually pretty impressive. I feel like most dragon bites would, just eat you. Their mouths are pretty big. They'd remove a limb at the very least. Speaking of removed limbs, did we ever get answers to what actually happened to Hiccup's leg? We're expected to believe that it got burnt off when he fell. Let me cook. Like Hiccup's leg did. The way that he falls, it doesn't make sense, right? Because Toothless would wrap around his legs first. So it would make more sense if he got an arm burnt off. So the theory is that in trying to grab Hiccup to pull him in, Toothless bit his leg and either tore or bit it off when trying to drag him in. I'm sorry. So anyways, that's a whole nother level of trauma for the both of them, and that's kind of what I believe happened, because it makes more sense. Anyways, this is a great moment for the twins.
Look, I refuse to spend the rest of my life doing anything alone.
They seem like they butt heads all the time. They also literally butt their heads all the time. But when push comes to shove, and one of them is actually in trouble, they will literally die for each other. And this is something that gets completely disregarded in the third movie. So Fishlegs and Hiccup try to crack the lens that they found in the cave with Gustav last season, and they end up working late into the night. And that night just so happens to be a full moon, which activates the Dragon Eye. Pulling an artistic all-nighter usually solves your problems. Not that I would know what that's like. So Hiccup immediately heads there, because of course he does. But it's not actually a big deal, because they find out that it was a myth. It was a way to just keep 2 more Dragon Eye lenses from being discovered, which is really over the top. They get back in time to tell Tuff that the Lichen Wing was in fact a myth, and Snotlout, who ran away into the woods earlier, ends up with the same bite, that bite being from a wolf. So now they don't have to worry about dragons anymore. However, they do now have rabies. And you know what? Snotlout hasn't suffered enough, because here comes dear old dad. Apparently one of Snotlout's relatives is marrying one of Astrid's relatives, which, if you're new here, is not good. And Snotlout is in charge of bringing the ceremonial axe to the wedding. The stakes are really high, and unfortunately, Snotlout is really short, and he loses it on their way to the ceremony. Oh, and Hiccup's there too. Good thing too, because they end up discovering a new dragon. And I hear he knows a thing or two about those. But since he's got welding breath and they don't have proper eye gear, then you get blinded if you get shot by it. I've worked in a construction adjacent job long enough to know how painfully bright welding sparks can be. You need PPE. There was this one guy that was working at the top scaffolding with us, and he had a hole in his protective apron pants that he had, and a little spark was in the perfectly wrong place and managed to get in there, and he burnt his manhood to the point that he had to be hospitalized for it. I don't know how that's relevant, really, but in the B plot, Fishlegs gets accidentally betrothed to Roughnut 4 seasons and 2 movies too early, and over the course of the afternoon, they speedrun a sitcom marriage. Meanwhile, Snotlout lures a bunch of smothering smoke breaths to the armor wing, which is what Hiccup has affectionately named this dragon, in order to get the metal away from him. But the plan works a bit too well, and they recreate that one scene from Cinderella. They get the wicked stepsisters away, then make it to the wedding, which is not a wedding. Snotlout stands up to his jerk dad, which is huge for his character. If you've watched his character growth through the first movie to the Riders of Berk, but it actually doesn't mean anything, because I guess the bride and groom turned the ceremony into a WWE match. That's kind of how I imagine the average Viking wedding to be like, though. So that's what my family's weddings are like.
You never completed your training because the officiator jumped off a cliff.
We lost a lot of good educators that way, especially the ones I pushed.
And it's back to work. The riders are setting up a watchtower. The twins keep themselves busy by skiing, which unfortunately causes an avalanche. For real, though, I studied avalanches for like the longest time because I used to go skiing and snowboarding as a kid, and I was so scared of them. Thank you, Balto. Even though avalanches can't be triggered by sound, but they can be triggered by dragons. Hiccup saves Barf and Belch from becoming a Zippleback pancake, breaking his leg in the process. How does this not happen more often? Actually, I kind of wish that it would happen more often, because there's this trope in media where a character will lose their limb and then the prosthetic will either be better than the original or basically just the original. Like, they basically just get a new limb without missing a beat. And this is a bit different because, like, everyone in Hiccup's village is missing a limb, but like, it's still gotta suck, especially if like his best friend potentially digested his limb. Gobber understands. Like, I've always loved the fact that after the Red Death, like, while Hiccup was recovering, then Gobber took it upon himself to study Hiccup's designs and make a specialized saddle for Toothless so that whenever Hiccup woke up, he could get right back to flying Toothless. Because he knows, obviously, what it's like to be an amputee, and that's his way of helping Hiccup with his transition. And we do see Hiccup struggle with it. Like, this show does a great job of showing how he copes, but it's also a creative outlet for him, which is a really cool take. He uses it as an opportunity to improve his lifestyle and the things that he likes doing. His prosthetic leg is like problem solving for him, something to always be working on, to always be trying to improve, so that it becomes more of an advantage for his lifestyle than a detriment. His leg is made for flying. He is naturally more comfortable and more efficient in the air than he is on the ground with his prosthetic. It still causes him discomfort.
Ay, this leg needs to be filed down. It's pinching. Wearing metal on skin can be itchy. Trust me, I know.
And it makes his day-to-day a bit more challenging than his friends. He's tailored it to his lifestyle and what he loves to do, to the point that you don't realize or really think of it being an issue until something mundane happens to him and becomes a challenge. Like, I appreciate that in this show specifically, they choose to highlight that he is, in fact, an amputee. That's a big part of his character. While in the movies, his life doesn't really change all that much, especially after they highlight how much Toothless's day-to-day is effective after losing his tail fin. After all that drama, Hiccup makes his way back, but there's something fishy going on. So he's seeking out the twins when Barf and Belch, jealous of Toothless and Hiccup's relationship, I assume, try to murk Toothless and bite off Hiccup's arm. Instead, he breaks another leg. With Barf and Belch being Hiccup's new paparazzi, the twins are left dragonless. So Hiccup attempts to return Barf and Belch, and then proceeds with the reprimands.
They broke my second spare leg!
So, if my calculations are correct,
That would mean that our dear Hiccup is on his
last leg!
Oh, like, you wouldn't make the same joke with your dad humor, Hiccup. This poor thing's so tired. Paparazzi doesn't care, though. It's like trying to shake off your younger cousins at a family function. I told you we would play Roblox when I'm done with this. Yes, okay, I'll watch you run around in a circle. That was a very good circle. Just as good as the last 40 times. Now, can I please eat my funeral potatoes in peace? He tries to shake him off, which he's got to be holding back. Maybe trying to be polite, because I feel like if he were really trying, it would be no contest. When that doesn't work, he goes with the ignore them route, but once again, the Zippleback jealousy takes hold, and they nearly kill him again. None of the riders are concerned in the slightest that his hut blew up, so I'm assuming this happens a lot. So the next morning, concussed and frustrated, Hiccup has to get Gobber to fix his prosthetic legs for him. I'm assuming because Barf and Belch are so clingy he can't get anything done. That or having them in the forge would probably give him a heart attack. Zipplebacks are known for their loyalty, one of the reasons that they match so well with the twins. However, Zipplebacks have an added dragon upgrade that Gobber calls a life debt. Since Hiccup saved them from the avalanche, they are now indebted to him until that life debt is repaid. Which honestly shouldn't take that long to reverse, because this man is the definition of adrenaline junkie.
I'm not gonna fight you, Snot Lout! The future chief is a coward! Fine. Remember, you wanted this.
The resulting blow is apparently so gruesome that they couldn't even animate it. One hit, and he's out cold. But this isn't just any punch. This was a right hook. Hiccup is left-handed. It's one of those subtle visual story points in the first movie. When we first meet Hiccup, he's doing everything with his right hand as like a way to show that he's trying to fit in with his peers. But as the movie progresses, and he kind of finds his own path, he switches over to the left. Then in the next 2 movies, we see him use his left hand primarily. Same goes for the shows. He's probably ambidextrous, so like, if that's the case, then his left can't be that much stronger than his right, right? Well, now I get to talk to you about physics. This episode in particular has really been highlighting the fact that Hiccup, in fact, does not have a left leg, and thus does not have toes. Now, if you know anything about martial arts, not even martial arts, just fighting in general, when it comes to punching, footwork is everything. That's where the power of the punch comes from. Specifically, the flexing of the foot, something that Hiccup cannot do with a metal leg. Then where does all of this power come from? Because Hiccup doesn't just knock out Snotlout, bars, he also knocks out 3 of his molars. Personal headcanon here, but you'll notice in the second movie, Snotlout is missing a tooth, obviously not a molar, but in my personal headcanon, that is one of the teeth that Hiccup knocked out, because I think that's fun. He worked most of his life in the forge with Gobber. He also flies with Toothless, which is a dragon that prioritizes speed. Not only is he going to need strength to hold on, but he also needs to remain lean to make flight maneuvers more manageable. My family would call this country strong, meaning he has built his muscles through and for a practical purpose. Like, have you ever seen those bodybuilder versus like blue collar construction worker videos? It's basically that. I don't know if this is an actual saying, or if this was my uncle's trying to make me feel better about myself for being lanky. And the crazy thing is, Hiccup knows that he is capable of this. Probably why he was so reluctant and then chose to punch with his non-dominant hand. But no one else knew that he could do this. Look at his face after he punched him. It's like he's ashamed he had to show his true form. I also find it really interesting that insulting Hiccup's claim to the throne and calling him a coward is what earned Snotlout that KO. I feel like Hiccup was reminding Snotlout that he is in fact the son of Stoic the Vast. He wasn't just defending his honor, but like Bahadur's. And he kind of does prove that he's fit to be chief by like obviously showing strength, knocking him out, but then also caring for him afterwards.
Get him some ice. Hey, we weren't expecting Thor's mighty hammer to meet Snotlout's paper jaw.
He continues to follow in his father's footsteps and stoically leaves. He needs some me time, and instead he gets kidnapped, which sets off Astrid's spidey sense. Dagger and Riker are going to torture all of the dragon knowledge out of Hiccup, and I guess make him function as their own sentient dragon eye. Since they couldn't get it from him, they just took him. And Barf and Belch to the rescue, which gives Hiccup another excuse to show his superhuman strength, and just rip through the rope that was holding him. And then look at him. After that, he's grabbing this axe like it's heavy. The charade is up. Stop acting all cute. And with the help of his paparazzi, they fight off the dragon hunters and escape, just to run into the other dragon riders. And I do mean run into. I do have a potentially dumb question. Maybe I've just stared at the designs too long, because they're up all over the park, and I would be like working in there and just like, oh, that's cool, you know, looking at them. But like, these guys that are flying Toothless got giant feet, and Hiccup can only fly it by looping his prosthetic into like the latch. Also, how do they know what it means? Like, there's a science to this. Toothless is basically like driving a manual. He's like driving stick when everyone else drives automatic. How is everyone not just like stalling the engine when they try to take him out? Anyways, with Barf and Belch saving Hiccup from the Dragon Hunters and the twins saving Barf and Belch from also the Dragon Hunters, the life debt has been repaid and everything can go back to normal. And Hiccup is right back to training. He's trying to craft a suit of armor for the dragons so they won't keep getting shot up with dragon drugs. The problem is that Toothless's speed stats are too high and the heavy armor keeps falling off. They then discover that the Dragon Hunters are headed to Glacier Island to get a tooth from the Snow Wraith. So they head there to stop him. How do they still not have snow gear? Like, Viking-style winter gear goes so hard. And is fun to draw. I drew Astrid and Hiccup some. I'll just leave this here. Don't they look cozy? So Astrid ditches Hiccup.
She ditched you? What? No. Why would she do that?
And goes to find Heather, who actually isn't emo and edgy, but instead a rat for the dragon hunters. A rat in a room, a rubber room full of rats. I hate rats. They're crazy. I don't know. I don't know. She's spying on the dragon hunter, but Hiccup can't know. He's too soft. Guys, I've been recording for so long and I just found out that you can take those things, the annoying little stand things off of the microphone. I'm a professional.
Hiccup could help us. He's really good at this stuff. He also cares too much.
Ladies, is a man caring about your well-being an ick? With Heather's intel, Astrid takes the riders to the snow cave, and also the dragon hunters. Is that a knitting needle?
But you can't just go off on your own like that, Astrid. I rely on you.
His Astrid spider senses are too strong. He knows something's up. The dragon hunters are woefully outmatched.
Jump Haddock! Let's talk this out! Like men!
If there's one chance to settle this without bloodshed, I have to try.
That is very chiefly of you. I'm sure if you keep that mentality going forward in life, everyone will remain safe and safe. So Hiccup meets him, looking very large and authoritative, hitting the mom I threw up stance.
Duggar was right. You don't look like much.
Astrid was right. You look like a psycho.
Riker wants the dragon eye back, seeing as how Hiccup stole it from their abandoned ship.
Sorry, I must have left it in my other pants. Okay, here's my offer. Leave now, and your men won't have to find out what burning flesh smells like.
Where did that come from? I thought we were taking the pacifist route. So they shut them all in a cave in order to force the dragon riders to spook the snow wraiths out the other side of the cave. The character development, guys. Just a few short episodes and Snotloud's ready to fistfight 3 dragons. When it comes to dragons, all Batman morals are out the window for Hiccup. He is fully planning on killing these guys.
Their ship along the south side of the glacier.
They're not gonna get there.
He's a performative pacifist. He unleashes the twins who bury the hunters in ice, then goes after Heather, and I think he was fully planning on killing her if Astrid hadn't stopped him. Hiccup's trust is broken, which is a very big deal.
We're supposed to be a team, Astrid.
I know. I should have told you. I wanted to. I really did.
But you didn't.
And we brushed past it, because there's a more interesting guy to talk about. Apparently Riker wasn't the head honcho that we thought he was. So they gotta focus on defending their home, something that the twins in particular take very seriously.
I understand how this isn't making you completely insane.
Because then there would be 2 crazy people in this conversation, and we probably wouldn't resolve anything.
Future mom and dad right there. Johan sends a T-mail, trying not to waste too many resources or too much time on Johan. Hiccup takes Toothless and Hookfang, since they're the only ones with working dragon armor, and Meatlug because she's built different. Something I see brought up a lot is that at the end of the second movie, Astrid should have become chief instead of Hiccup. This shows why that wouldn't work.
You are not leaving me with these 2 mutton heads.
She knows we're standing right here, right?
She doesn't respect the others. She's too prideful, but not in a, Hiccup pride kind of way. More in a, I am in control, and I do everything myself, and if you don't agree with me, you're stupid.
We were in a...
You have no clue, do you? Didn't think so.
Is that a rhetorical question?
And do you know why? Because the 2 of you don't think. You know what your problem is, Roughnut?
Oh, you bet I do. I got a list of problems so long I can't even keep track. Question is, do you know what your problem is, Astrid? You have no respect for the people around you who are just trying to help and be a part of the team. You have no respect for Fish Legs, certainly none for Snotlout, and you couldn't have less respect for the 2 of us.
I do. I respect you guys.
Shut up, Mom! Silence from you! You're cut off from talking!
You know who is like Hiccup, though? Roughnut, because she gets kidnapped. I think they even use the same potato sack.
You have got to do something about those stairs. I mean, there must be hundreds of them. There's over 10 at least.
When looking for her, they instead find the Navy. Astrid isn't letting Tough help at all.
You know all those times early in the morning when it's still dark outside and I'm out by myself on Stormfly?
Well, I do now. But is this gonna get weird? That's my sister out there, Astrid. And if this goes wrong, we don't save her. I couldn't live with myself.
See, the twins care so much about each other in this, it makes me hate the third movie even more. So Tough goes ahead and sets up all his pranks anyways, as Astrid sets up a more traditional offense. And you can tell that she just let him set up his pranks to shut him up, because she's still not listening to him.
I was thinking, you know what would be great?
If we stuck with what seems to be working really well?
No, that wasn't it at all. I was thinking...
Save it, Tough. That's what we're doing.
And then whenever Astrid's plan doesn't work, she does listen to him, and it does work, and then it doesn't work.
Take Stormfly and go. These dragon hunters are never gonna give up, no matter what we do. I'll hold them off so you can make it out.
No way, I'm not leaving you.
Okay, then how about I take Stormfly and you hold them off? Kidding. I almost got you though, right?
Yeah, you did.
I love how Tough uses humor to calm Astrid down. He does the same thing with Ruff and vice versa. He's such a good friend and a fantastic brother, and the movies did him so dirty. Meanwhile, Johan is being tormented by a bunch of wild dragons, dragons that were sent by Riker in an attempt to get all of the dragon riders off of the base, and the dragons take fish legs for reasons. I love Hiccup and Snotlout's relationship. They've come so far since the first movie.
So this means we get to go rescue him, I suppose.
It does. And thank you for volunteering. But it's not going to be easy.
With you as captain, I know it won't.
Well, I suppose the life of a dragon rider is shorter than most. I'll miss him dearly.
Good point, Johan. Let's get out of here.
No, we're not going anywhere. I said it's going to be hard, not impossible.
Hiccup executes the plan. The plan fails.
I knew this was going to happen!
Please just get down here and help us.
Oh, sure, come bail us out again! It's always the snot that has to clean up the...
So he makes another plan. Honestly, he and Snotlout are really chill this whole time. It's almost like they're just like hanging out, having a good time, going on an adventure together. Hiccup riles up the dragons and gets them to chase him, while Snot gets fishnets. This gives Hiccup an excuse to show off his new outfit, and fortunately, these wild dragons are fashion divas, and that's how he wins over their trust.
We're not like all those hunters. We would never hurt a dragon.
Never saying never, buddy. Funny if you think about it, then Hiccup is the only one out of all the dragon riders who has actually killed a dragon. Big dragon, Red Death dragon. Ruff escapes on windshield with Windshear and brings Hiccup and his entourage back to the edge.
7,000 fucking pigeons. Eat this man.
Where Tough is continuing with his trickster tactics.
Chicken.
Speaking of trickster tactics, it is now April Fool's Day. Or Loki Day, which is the Burke equivalent.
Loki! Just wait till she sees the snake I put down there. I think she saw it.
Fishleg sees a new dragon in the lagoon, but no one believes him because it's April Fool's. So then he goes to prove it. And he does prove it, but then he needs to double prove it for everyone else. So he traps the dragon in the cove. Not very ethical in his scientific practices, if you ask me. Fishlegs ignored Hiccup's warnings about his incorrect use of ethics, and keeps studying the sea shocker despite it being not okay.
He's not listening to you.
I know.
This is really a bad idea.
Yes, it is.
You should listen to me more often.
Nah, I shouldn't.
The shocker then attacks some of the dragons. The dragons retaliate because, duh. Finally, they convince him to comply with the federal regulations surrounding animal testing, and they open the cove. But he doesn't leave. I guess Fishlegs speed ran Stockholm Syndrome with this guy. But Fishlegs' incompetence has drawn two Skaldrons that are hungry for Sea Shocker. In the spirit of the holiday, Hiccup hatches a scheme and uses the twins as bait.
This bait is nasty.
The word is pungent.
Sorry, this pungent is nasty. Hiccup said to just use a pinch.
And they catch an eel, shockingly. That wasn't funny at all. Oh my god. Fishlegs unethically inserts himself into the food chain and definitely dies of cardiac arrest. I watched Dr. Mike. I'm obviously an expert. And the rest of the riders enact their revenge.
Your Vikings of the year have a
Loki! You gotta admire it.
Admire it. I'm straight up jealous of it.
Okay, so I have a quick sidebar before I get into this next episode. I see your comments. I understand that there is another show that prefaces this one. The thing that made me talk about Race to the Edge is how it's so prevalent in the park, and no one had really seen it. Like, even the people that I was working with in the park didn't know what I was talking about. A lot of my friends and coworkers had watched the first series because it was on Cartoon Network, but then never got around to watching the Netflix exclusive show. And I understand that That Riders of Berk is where like most of the characters are first introduced, where this storyline kind of begins. So it's hard to talk about Race to the Edge without talking about that one. So that's why I said that Race to the Edge was slept on. But obviously the first one slept on too. They're both good. I just like the first show. I want to have like its own video. Because it's that one's fantastic as well, but I just personally like Race to the Edge more, and since it's being taken off of Netflix, I feel like it's kind of like time sensitive as well. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about it. We're talking about Race to the Edge because I want to talk about Race to the Edge, and this is my video. I'm in charge. I'm the leader. Please don't be mad at me. Now, obviously, some stuff needs background in the show in order for it to make sense. Like all the times that I was poking fun at blood relations, they're not actually that nobody's blood related. Hiccup and Dagger aren't brothers at all. Dagger just calls him brother. So I was just being lazy for the sake of jokes. And I'm going to stop being lazy. And I'm going to give a brief backstory for this episode because it needs it. This introduces the Skrill. Which is a really cool dragon that we need to see more of. I love him. The Skrill and Toothless have beef. Dagger wanted this dragon as his own, not in a loving way though, in a I'm gonna chain you up and use you as a weapon kind of way. So, and Hiccup reacted to that by trapping the Skrill in a cave. We start this episode off with a bang that blows up Hiccup's house. Toothless really hates this guy. Apparently he's all talk though, because he goes down pretty quick. They try to draw it into another tunnel. But obviously he's done this song and dance before, and so he instead tries to trap them in the tunnel, tries to flip the tables. Turn the tables. Flip the script. Flip the tables. And honestly, I can't really blame it. He's very justified.
I hate smart dragons, which is why I love you.
So the Skrill lights Toothless's tail on fire as he's chasing him, and they crash land exactly where they wanted to be. Just with a few extra broken bones and liquefied ribs. Some quick Viking ingenuity from Hiccup, and they're flying again. Also flying the enemy's flag. Like, look at there was so much fabric there. There was so much canvas that fell in front of him, and he just had to choose the bit with the logo on it. His little artsy ass just had to make it look good. He hatches his scheme, enemy of my enemy, leaves the Skrill back to the dragon hunters, hoping that they'll shoot him with an arrow and Hiccup can come in and just scoop him up. Instead, the enemy of the enemy becomes singular enemy, and they get to the Skrill before Hiccup can, and Hiccup takes it very well.
Story. Looks to me like someone has changed his allegiance. I knew this day would come. Seize him!
Gotcha, traitor!
Fish Legs is in on it too! No, you don't!
How could you even think that? Hiccup? A dragon hunter? Just the idea that he would even have anything to do with them. Ugh.
Actually, Fish Legs, let's not go quite that far.
Here,
I messed up. I really messed up. And I'm not sure how to fix it.
Oh,
what now?
we've just never heard you say that before.
You always know how to fix it.
Yeah, well, guess what? I'm not perfect.
What? No? What? Whose painting am I going to have above my bed?
First of all, ew.
Remember that Hiccup has grown up with both the pressure of being a future chief and being the village's failure loner. So obviously he's going to be really hard on himself. And not only that, but his friends hold him up on a pedestal. Whenever they have a problem, they're all running to Hiccup for answers. But then whenever he had a problem, like with the Zippleback thing, no one was really there to help him out, besides the twins. But they were really only there to help their dragon. So they just kind of figure that he has everything under control. But then whenever he does admit to being overwhelmed, they're all there to help, like without question, which is cool. But what's not cool is that Hiccup never admits to being overwhelmed. So
hey, so it's editing, Percy. I noticed at this part that I keep calling the Skrill a scroll. I don't know, it was like 3 a.m. It's not a piece of rolled parchment paper. It is indeed a Skrill, a dragon. I'm sorry.
So they get to the island to free the Skrill, but this was a trap. It's always a trap. So predictably, trap doesn't last very long. Hiccup frees Toothless. Toothless frees the Skrill. Skrill kills some hunters. Wrecker tries to shoot the Skrill. Hiccup tries to kill himself, and Toothless Mr. President's Hiccup. Make note of this. Toothless has been hit with a dragon root arrow. Okay? File that away in your noggin. So the Skrill shoots the dragon hunters. Spitlout shoots Skrill. He's there too. And then they take the scroll back to the Cave of Madness, and finally Hiccup realizes that this is not a very chill thing to do.
Now, I have had it with her.
You knew he wouldn't turn on us if we let him go, huh?
Yeah, why not?
So we're back to tormenting the Dragon Hunters. And in the heat of battle, yet another beautiful relationship blooms.
They telling me I gotta get gay married?
Okay, Bobby, no one's telling you you gotta get gay married.
Too late! I done married my buddy Zeke.
Speaking of relationships, Astrid and Hiccup have switched sides. Astrid is now worried about Heather's cover being blown. Hiccup goes back to his reckless risk-taking and wants her to stick around until after she meets Viggo, who's the big bad. And this guy drops the hardest line.
They say there are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is.
Oh, but maybe Viggo's not that bad. I mean, he let that guy live. He tells Heather that he needs her help to find the traitor. So they're going to ambush him when he tries to capture the Flightmare.
Why would Viggo want the Flightmare?
Hiccup, you're missing the point. He does that from time to time.
No, I don't.
But it's opposite day, so he ambushes them. I like the smoky eye that he's got. He probably uses the really expensive stuff too. Regardless, he outs Heather as the traitor, and Hiccup tries to wrangle the Flightmare.
You guys are brilliant. I don't know about brilliant, but we do have a certain glow about us.
And after learning nothing from the Skrill incident, he leads the Flightmare to the Hunters, and they capture it, and Heather. They then boogie over to Dragon's Edge to find the Dragon Eye, but luckily the twins stole it from Hiccup first.
Oh, they really wrecked this place.
This is pretty much how we left it.
Remember how I said that Hiccup has the habit of putting way too much pressure on himself?
Astrid, I let it happen.
What did I just say? Hello, call my therapist. I fucking knew it!
And unfortunately, his friends can't really help him with this time, because it's not a, like, blow it up and move on kind of problem.
A matter of time before Hiccup formulates his parry.
A platypus?
Counterattack. Big brother, thank Thor he blessed you with strength of body.
It basically told his brother, you're lucky you're pretty. Hiccup takes Astrid back to Viggo's ship, and they try to learn more about him. Or they instead find a gift.
Maces and Talons! Does this mean...
No, fish legs.
But Maces and Talons was designed to test the abilities and decision-making expertise of future chiefs in the heat of battle.
Yeah, I'm not taking over as Chief of Burke. Viggo left this for me.
I love how supportive they are. So they storm the castle where they are greeted with typhoomerangs.
No. All this is just a distraction.
It's fire, Hiccup. Actual fire.
Now I know you guys think I'm nuts. Yes? The fire from the typhoomerang. It's like a giant tornado. We fly right into the eye of it.
Inside it?
Hello, boys. How's it going?
Yeah, those guys are dead.
Heather, come on. We gotta get out of here.
Heather's not looking too good. And Hiccup is, well, this isn't his best. He's definitely having a off night. And then he gets turned into an action figure. And not a very good one either. Timu Toothless. How did he get those off? How did he get those off of her? They're not even broken. They just fell off. Are her hands okay? Hiccup loses pretty spectacularly, and he doesn't take it very well. And then Heather just dips, which, like, okay, you're an awful friend. No, thank you, Astrid, for lying to your friends and potentially breaking all trust that they have in you. No, thank you for sticking your neck out and risking your lives to save me from my own stupidity. No, thank you, Hiccup, for basically losing everything. Just because you put your faith in me. She can't even check in on Hiccup. He's having a crisis. And you're too self-absorbed to even see if he's okay or say sorry or anything. This is your fault. Sorry, I'll calm down. I did see the comments on Heather. She is still, yeah, she's an interesting character, and I will do a deep dive on her, but that's that's next season. Don't touch that dial. Don't go anywhere. Speaking of next season, that's the end of this one. Yeah, I told you it got better. And this is just the beginning of the better. Viggo is a really cool villain. He facilitates a lot of Hiccup's character growth. This was a very, like, Hiccup-centric video. And I think that's important because the show is, like, highlighting his character flaws before introducing Viggo, so that you know, like, how Viggo's schemes get under Hiccup's skin. But I'll stop talking about it or I will be here all night. But thank you for the comments. Last episode I asked you what music you think everyone would listen to, each one of the writers, and thank you. I also asked for your music suggestions and I got a big old playlist now, so thank you for that. And although I thought I was pretty spot on with my song suggestions for the writers, I was humbled by this comment. It is from Victoria K 3486. This is canon. I do still think Ruff would be into electropop though. And for all you guys saying that Hiccup would listen to emo music, I'm sorry, he absolutely would not. And you can fight me on that. He's in denial about his feelings. Why would he listen to feeling songs? His music is just autistic ambiance. Okay? It's just there as background clatter for whatever his current obsessive endeavor is. Okay? He doesn't have time to dwell on his sad. This time, why don't we, what music genre are the dragons giving, each of the dragons? So yeah, Percy Jackson Part 2 is coming. I have to actually think when I make that one, because I have a lot that I want to say. So, Patreon if you want doodle updates, in the meantime. I do post all of the, drawings that I put in my videos. I post those on my Patreon if you want to see those, if you want to admire my work. For everyone that's joined so far, thank you. I appreciate it. Everyone give them a round of applause. Remember, if you want me to stick around, you can always subscribe. So anyways, my channel name is different, so don't get scared. Other than that, I'm going to go start my second playthrough of Resident Evil Requiem. So, bye!